Hello, everyone. My name is Dana Hutchinson, and I am the lead medical herbalist and owner of the Wildflower Clinic. I am coming to you guys today with another exciting lesson about herbs, in addition to announcing one of our newest products, which is our Ancient 30 Educational Herbal Card Deck. And so that is this beautiful deck here that I'm going to explain, but I'm also going to explain a couple of the standout herbs within this deck that you can start to learn about in this lesson today. So I'm really excited to dive into this. This card deck has taken us about 2 years to create, and really what it is a reflection of our top 30 clinically recommended herbs from the private practice, the Wildflower Clinic. So they are Eastern medicine herbs, and within each card, you will have a botanical illustration. You'll also have opinion translation, and then on the back of the card is where you get a lot of information about the element that the herb matches with. You have an ancient description, parts used of the herb, clinical actions. You'll also get sample dosage, health indications, and also suggested pairings of that herb. So we are very excited, and today I thought I would actually take you guys through 6 herbs that actually match with a Chinese element, and I'll explain what that is, okay? So let's open the deck together and get started. So this is the beautiful deck here. It is called the Ancient 30. It truly is an educational herbal card deck. It is not a tarot deck. And you'll find that the 5 Chinese elements, along with our Wildflower Clinic element of connection, is on the side. On the back of the deck, you get a preview of the cards and also a description about what you'll find within the deck. And on the front is the 5 poppies that is our Wildflower Clinic brand, and it just represents the 5 elements as well. So when you open it up, you do get, your practitioner card. You have your practitioner letter, which just is a better idea of what you'll find inside the card deck. It also comes with a glossary. So this is going to be all those words that maybe you've never heard of, like decoction, dampness, materia medica. All of that will be defined for you in the glossary card. And then we also have the element match card, where you'll basically find that each herb is matched with either water, wood, connection, or earth, metal, or fire. Okay, and those all correspond with different organ systems in the body. And then you'll find that you have these beautiful, oversized, luxurious, really thick cards that all have education on how to use these guys and learn about them. Okay, so now I want to take you through some of my favorites so that you can learn a little bit more about Eastern medicine and get a better idea of how we use herbs at the Wildflower Clinic. So I already showed you this card, but the first one that I want to talk about is jujube date. It is such a beautiful herb. I mean, look at this botanical illustration. All of these are uniquely drawn. This herb is awesome because it is the fire element. Fire element herbs are usually going to bring in warmth for the heart. They're going to help with blood tonification. They're going to warm the interior of the body. So a lot of individuals who are cold, deficient, dry, a lot of us in Colorado, that's where I live, could use an herb like this to help to tone the blood, to circulate the blood. And so this is Hong Zhao, and again, you've got your entire educational information on the back here. Each herb does have a keynote phrase of what we've named this herb as. This herb is called the restorer because it truly does restore nutrients into the blood. Our blood is how all of our nutrients move to all the different places in our system. So if our blood doesn't contain high amounts of nutrients, then some of our organ systems are going to be a little bit more deficient or maybe not performing as optimally as we would like. So with jujube, I love using the fruit of this herb. I also find that this can be a really nice herb to add into an emotional formula, as it does support the Shen spirit, or kind of like the emotional complex, our motivation, our mood, things like that. This is also indicated for digestive disturbances. So things like loose stools, people who maybe aren't going to the restroom as much. Maybe they are having irregular bowel movements. Either loose stools or constipation, jujube can really help to bring that nutrients back into the blood so that digestion can regulate and we can actually take nutrients from our food in addition to excreting things that we don't need. Okay, so you'll also have commonly paired herbs. So jujube, we like to commonly pair with peony, astragalus, and hawthorn fruit. So I love this herb. It's beautiful. I love this drawing. And jujube is in a lot of our patient formulas at the Wildflower Clinic because it's such a nice taste. It's a modulator. It's a little bit sweet. And it brings a lot of warmth into even cold formulas, as well as can start to nourish a cold or deficient individual. So the next herb I want to talk to you guys about is chrysanthemum. So this is juha in Chinese medicine. You'll see that the element match here is the metal element. Metal element herbs are usually going to be renowned for supporting the lungs, helping our body to clear phlegm, helping our system to respirate properly, to take in oxygen. A lot of these herbs in the metal category are going to support our Wei Qi, which is our neck region. This time of year in fall, a lot of the time when you're going outside, you want to make sure you're protecting this sacred region, because if this gets exposed to wind or cold weather or rain too often and your body loses temperature, it can actually develop into a respiratory infection. So chrysanthemum, you'll see this beautiful flower here. I love this herb. This herb is actually called the clearer. And the reason for that is chrysanthemum finds its way in a lot of respiratory formulas where people are having difficulty expectorating, or they can't really get rid of a deep phlegm cough, let's say. So chrysanthemum can actually rid the body of some of that excess heat to allow the body to actually produce the cough or get rid of the mucus without damaging the lungs. So it's a really nice herb. It's often paired with lonicera or honeysuckle in traditional Chinese medicine lung formulations. The other thing I want to talk about with this is it can also help the body to promote sweating. So if we're trying to get rid of toxins, we're trying to clear bacterias and cleanse, chrysanthemum can be a wonderful herb that can help facilitate that process. It's a beautiful herb if you get it dried. We add it to a lot of our even digestive formulas if we find that maybe there's some damp heat within that individual, or maybe we're thinking there's some sort of bacterial or viral component that's part of their case. Chrysanthemum can be really helpful to just take a little bit of that heat away. We're usually going to use the flower in Chinese medicine for this herb, and most of the common pairings are going to be honeysuckle, as I mentioned, jasmine, and also goji berry. So I think that's all I want to say about this one. Actually, another one with chrysanthemum is any sort of skin condition. So we're thinking eczema, contact dermatitis, psoriasis, some of these hot, itchy, dry conditions. Juha is an awesome herb that can help to really drain or get rid of that heat that's present in the external skin that you see in those external presentations. Yeah. So the next one is Moliha. I love this card. I think it is just a gorgeous representation of this beautiful Eastern flower that we love so much. The aroma of jasmine is absolutely stunning if you've ever been near a jasmine plant. And this particular card is correlated with the connection element. This is an element that we actually use at the Wildflower Clinic in addition to our traditional 5 elements. The connection element is really that wisdom remedy approach. So that connection with mind and body, that energetic spirit, our mood, our motivation, reflection of self, how we view ourselves in society. So this can really help to enhance mental and emotional balance, which I think is so important and imperative in any sort of health condition. So jasmine is beautiful, and it's really known as the awakener because it awakens our senses, it can awaken our purpose, it can awaken our vitality, and that really is the embodiment of the connection element at the Wildflower Clinic. So you'll find with this, again, each card has its ancient description of how it was cultivated, where it grows, what kind of cultures really used these herbs in traditional medicine, and also what we use them for today, of course. With this, you're going to use the flower buds. We've gone over most of the other things on this card, but I also like this herb for restlessness or nervous tension. People who feel like they get quite anxious in response to maybe small tasks or small events. This can really help the central nervous system in such a gentle way. Jasmine is a very safe and effective herb. And so it usually finds its way into a myriad of our formulas in an infusion perspective and even in tinctures. Now with this one, this actually pairs really well with chrysanthemum. And it also pairs well with lotus seeds, which is in the deck, and also honeysuckle. So if someone's going through let's say a sickness or an illness, sometimes I will put Moliha in there because it helps with the anxiety component of having a sickness, or maybe the depletion component of having an illness. Sometimes our mental mind can get suppressed. Our microflora can get a little suppressed when we're fighting off something. So this herb not only can help those emotional or central nervous system components, but it can also help our enteric nervous system, which is located in our gut. And that holds serotonin and dopamine. So the next one is Chenpi. I love orange peel. Most Chinese medicine herbalists absolutely love orange peel because it is such a star in regulating digestion. I also just love this gorgeous illustration of it. And so this card is correlated to the earth element in Chinese medicine. Earth element herbs are really going to correlate with the stomach and with the spleen. So both digestive organs, which are really intended to prime and take in most of our nutrients from the food that we eat. It's a really high acid pH in the stomach to get rid of bacteria and things like that. And Chenpi is known as the pacifier. Now, the pacifier name came because it can really regulate any sort of spastic digestive conditions, but also it's renowned as an herb that can drain damp stagnation from the digestive system. And most people have some sort of damp, stagnant presentation. We eat a lot of processed foods, especially in America. We take in high amounts of sugar. A lot of individuals are not prioritizing exercising and flowing and moving their body. A lot of people aren't. regularly going to the restroom. They're not producing enough bowel movements to actually rid the body of toxins or of excess accumulation. And so what can happen is the digestive system can become stagnant. One can start to feel puffy, edema-like qualities can begin. We can have scallops on the side of the tongue, which can indicate that our liver and gallbladder aren't working as well, which means they're not supporting the digestive system as well. So there's a lot that I could talk about with digestion in general, but orange peel has documented uses all the way back to the Song Dynasty, which was 1960 to 1279. So long use of orange peel, documented at least, that we have, probably longer than that. And we're going to be using the peel, the actual peel for this herb in terms of its uses internally. This is also really good for people who complain that they bloat after meals, people who feel like their metabolism is sluggish, and people who feel like they even have nausea or maybe even vomiting after a meal. Sometimes acid reflux can simply be due to a stagnant digestive system where things are fermenting in the gut, and that's causing the acid to come back up the esophageal sphincter, and the person is experiencing heartburn or acid reflux. So orange peel can help to pacify that, okay? Common pairings with this one are going to be blueperum, ginger, and aniseed. Also, all of the common pairings that you get on these cards are other cards that are also in the deck. So the next one, fifth one here we're talking about is Huang Qi. So this is our gorgeous water element of astragalus. Oh my goodness, I could write a book on this herb. It is such a wonderful herb in Chinese medicine. We use it very frequently to support and tonify the immune system. The water element herbs are actually going to correlate more notably with the kidney and the urinary bladder organ systems, which are very much tied to our immune system. If our kidneys aren't filtering our blood, if our urinary bladder is stagnant, we can actually be a little more susceptible to things like UTIs, bacterial vaginosis, yeast infections, candida, puffiness again under eye bags, not feeling vital, having adrenal fatigue. A lot of things can stem from that third burner or that kidney urinary bladder channel. So water element herbs really help to promote the flow of fluids throughout our system so that everything can kind of work a little bit more effectively with the transport and receiving of nutrients throughout the blood and throughout our water sources in our body. This herb is called the strengthener, and it really is that. We give astragalus to so many of our autoimmune patients, people who are depleted, weak, maybe on that colder constitution, usually respond really well to astragalus root. It can also help to be a modulator herb for the immune system, meaning that it's not stimulating like some other herbs that we do have in Materia Medica. Most people could take astragalus more on a long-term basis as long as it's in the dosage that we suggest here. We're looking at a decoction of usually around 10 grams. A decoction, for those of you who don't know, is where you're actually getting the organic root that's dried and you're putting in 10 grams into about 2 to 3 cups of filtered water. And you're just going to simmer that on a saucepan in your kitchen, probably for about 20 minutes, and then you're going to strain that out. I know I really like astragalus this time of year in the fall when our body is transitioning into that colder temperature timeline. It can just be a nice tonifier for the immune system and our water and blood. So the other thing I want to talk about with this is people who get frequent infections. I'm always thinking astragalus. People who are getting frequent infections, we're not thinking herbs like echinacea because that would be too stimulating long term. If it's someone who keeps getting sick 2, 3, 4, 5 times a year, there's some sort of deficiency within their organ systems. And of course, that's going to take a little more of a comprehensive look, but thinking about these gentle immune system and kidney herbs can be really, really helpful for the individual to start tonifying their chi or their vital force and start really supporting the movement of blood throughout their system to really boost them up a couple notches on that vitality scale. I love these purple flowers that Huang Qi has as well, which you can see in detail. You can also see the gorgeous root on this card also. So common pairings for astragalus on here, we have listed Codonopsis, which is a general Qi tonic. I love Codonopsis. Reishi, which is a mushroom many of you may have heard of, another immune system strengthener. And then Jujube date, which we already talked about. This pair is an awesome pair for the immune system. Again, you can always change your formula around depending on what you're finding from a presentation perspective. But I like these qualities because jujube can bring in the warmth. Astragalus is going to tone the kidneys, the immune system, and depending what else is going on with your client or you can add or subtract other herbs. So our last element here is Forsythia, and this is the element of the wood. So this herb is Lianqiao. I love this gorgeous drawing. This is also on the side of our card deck, as you can see there. Now, Forsythia is an herb that I think is underused in kind of all natural medicines. It is a wood element herb, so traditionally it's going to support our liver and our gallbladder, so really helping the body to better produce bile, to break down fats, to support our liver with COX-1, COX-2 detox pathways, and really give some nourishing components to the liver to be able to really take nutrients from the digestive system through our hepatic portal vein, and then basically filter that out and send the nutrients back into the bloodstream for nourishment of our entire system. This herb we've given the name as the alleviator. So this herb has also come in to a huge playing ground as being an herb that can really alleviate pain. It can alleviate digestive discomfort. It can alleviate stomach spasms, stomach cramping, pain with digestion. And again, most of the reason that it does this is because it supports that liver channel, which is responsible for secreting the bile to take or to break down, those hard to digest foods that we eat way too commonly, again, especially in this country. So it's a wonderful herb. You're actually going to be using the pod of this herb in Chinese medicine. It is a gorgeous dried brown pod, dark brown pod, and most of the time you're going to be using a decoction style to basically get all the constituents out of that herb for medicinal purposes. So another thing I really like, have a little tea. The other thing I really like about Forsythia is it can help to clear heat from the liver. Any individuals who might present more on that excess side of things, they might have a red flushed face. Perhaps they have a really swollen, thick tongue with a yellow coating. Maybe they're a little bit overweight. Perhaps they're angry, they're irritated as a default personality mechanism. These are people that probably need to clear heat from the liver, and Forsythia is an herb that can do just that. Now, if we remember, Chrysanthemum was also an herb that could clear heat from the lung channel. So we're just starting to learn a little bit more about indications and how we might want to start thinking about natural medicines for certain health indications that are not requiring really that Western intervention. Okay, because if they do, we do want you to use a licensed medical doctor, of course. And all of these things I'm saying, of course, are just for educational purposes today. But that was another thing I wanted to mention. Forsythia can come into cold and flu presentations as well. But again, I'm really thinking of this more as a support for the liver, a support for any sort of that excess condition, that overgrowth, swollen lymph nodes, things that just mean we need to really alleviate, we need to pull down, we need to cool the body. So commonly paired herbs for this one are going to be Chinese skullcap, really cold herb, really supportive for, again, those excess conditions. Star anise, to just bring a little bit of warmth to the formula when using cold herbs like this. And also Schizandra berry, so wu weiji in Chinese medicine, is a wonderful herb to, again, just kind of balance out the cold components of Forsythia and make yourself a little detoxing, antibacterial, and liver supportive formula. So that's all of the elements that we went over. We went over fire, wood, water, metal, earth, and connection today. You had an herb for every single one, and I'll just show you those again here. And then, of course, if you want to dive into all of the cards, we have so much in store for you. They are just absolutely beautiful. And I'm really, really happy with this as a starter resource for anybody interested in herbalism. It's also fantastic as a gift, wonderful for clinical practitioners. It also duos as artwork. I know I have these up in my meditation room. We have them up in little frames in our clinic. So there's a lot of uses. You can also intuitively pick a card. And let's see what I get. Oh, hawthorn fruit. And you can experiment with that herb. You can start taking it, of course, if some of the indications match with you and you're doing so safely. And you can really use this as a materia medica guide as well, and just see how your body reacts to different herbs. So there's a lot of uses here, and this is in stock at our clinic now. So you can find this on our website, which is just www.wildflowerclinic.com. And you can find the Ancient 30 card deck under the Shop All tab. It's also on our Instagram. We just launched a little photo collection of that, and that's just at Wildflower Clinic. Yeah, but I just really hope that you guys learned a lot today about those 6 herbs, and there's so much more for you in store within this deck. I'm coming up on the HerbRally podcast in November, so stay tuned for that. And I hope that you guys learned about some of our favorite clinically recommended herbs from the Wildflower Clinic. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon.